So today's topic is going to be real estate blog ideas. So everything about real estate blogging, which is something I'm so passionate about because, well, in all honesty, blogging has fed all of my streams of income. So I'm very passionate about it. And I blog with the goal of ranking on the search engines, with the goal of sharing them on Pinterest. I blog for video. I blog for paid ads, social ads, all of that. So for me, it's very exciting to be able to share with you some different strategies with blogging. Now, if you're following this and you're not a real estate agent, you're still going to get the same thing out of it, because every technique that I'm going to show you today actually crosses over, whether you're in affiliate marketing, you're in coaching, you're in building niche websites for income, you're building Google sites, Amazon sites, your YouTube channel for monetization. All of this still applies. So here's where we're going to start. Real estate blogging is still very, very, very much a thing. What I will tell you is, if you're blogging to generate buyers, you're blogging to generate sellers for home valuation requests, you're going to be wanting to create blogs that solve problems, that answer questions, that guide the buyer or seller through a specific process. When I was doing short sales, this kind of blogging just was such a slam dunk. And now that we're kind of back more just in a traditional equity real estate market, it's much harder to find a niche to blog for. But I would tell you that the better you are at finding a niche, the better you are going to do with the search engine. So a niche is going to be something like retirement, 55 plus, empty nesters, right? That's a big community in Vegas. A niche could be first-time home buyers, and you're answering all of the questions about the home buying process. Let me give you an example. I'm going to actually, when I go to my screen, I'm going to show you also real deal examples of where leads came from. But right now, I'm a real estate agent, and I have a team in Las Vegas. And I live in Summerlin, which is a master plan community up here. And we have 100,000 residents. So it's like kind of like a small town. And there's lots of homes to go look at. And I was out shopping houses yesterday. Well, anyway, I'm looking to buy. And I have bought homes before, but as a spouse, and I didn't have much to do with the process. I had an opinion on picking the house, but when it actually came down to the money and the contracts and all that, back then, that was something my ex-husband did. So I didn't learn much about that process. And then as a real estate agent, I ended up spending most of my time behind the computer doing lead generation, which I still do today, and did not go out in the field and work with as many buyers. So I never learned as much about the home buying process. In fact, I took a lot of listings, but didn't work with many buyers. So I never learned that much. So I never learned much as a buyer, and I never learned much as a real estate agent as far as those processes and the questions that you have when you're going through a home buying process. So now I started exploring 6 months ago. I started exploring about a year ago. And then about 6 months ago, I started talking to mortgage lenders and starting to explore this a little bit more. And I had a lot of questions about, what can I qualify for? What credit score do I need to buy a house? And at what point in the credit score will it change my interest rates or the loan programs that I could get? Because, you know, we often hear people say things like, oh, if you've got a credit score of 650 or above, we can get you in something, depending on, you know, right? But okay, so what else? Well, this morning I was exploring, and every single loan program I was looking at for me had 720 plus in the excellent category, where you get the lowest interest rates and the better loan programs. So for me, if somebody asks that question, what credit score do I need to have to be in the best possible position to buy a house, I would now say 720 or above. Not being a credit counselor specifically, but now I understand that a lot better than I did before. So that was a question I had as a buyer. Now here's another thing. I'm looking at homes that are over $510,000. So for me, that puts me in a jumbo loan category. Hold on. So Sean, what are you having problems with? Are you having a problem watching this on Facebook Live? If anybody else is watching on Facebook Live, maybe you can help out and let me know if that's working okay. You can't see my screen on Facebook Live. If you want to see the screen, which I'm going to show in a second, you'll need to go over to youtube.com/Lori Ballen and follow us along there. Okay, so now I'm looking at the jumbo loan category, and I had to learn, like, at what point does it become a jumbo loan, and how much of a down payment do I need if it's a jumbo loan versus a regular conventional loan, and the difference in the interest rate. So I've learned all that. Well, all that makes me want to go blog, because I'm like, these are the questions buyers are going to have that as a real estate agent, you don't necessarily know unless you're being asked those questions. And because of my model, I was spending more time in lead gen, so I wasn't out there, learning all those questions. So these are the kinds of things we blog about. Questions that our buyers have or would have, questions that our sellers have or would have, okay? So if you have any kind of a niche, investors, waterfront, beach properties, college town, any of those kind of things, the more you can blog about a particular niche, the better you're going to do on the web. So if you hear nothing else in this video, please hear me say niche down, niche down, niche down. So for example, let me show my screen here. Okay, so I've got my screen up here, and I want to show you a couple things. So if you're following along and you're at your computer, you can type this in as well. So I'm going to type in ballenvegas.com, ballenvegas.com. Okay. So this website, I get a lot of questions when it comes to blogging about where we should be blogging. And this website here is my WordPress website. So this is an asset. I own this. It's mine. Nobody's going to take it away from me. It doesn't belong to the brokerage. It's built on a WordPress platform, and it's hosted. Now, these websites, my brothers, Jeff and Paul, actually build. So if you're in the market and need a website, need to have something else, you can talk to Jeff and Paul at ballenbrands.com, ballenbrands.com. So that's what this is. And I blog on this website on WordPress. Okay. Now, if you are one of our KW agents, I'm an agent with Keller Williams, and you might be an agent with Keller Williams, and you're using Command. KW Command does not yet have a blog in the traditional sense. Also, the KW Command websites are owned by KW. So if you were to ever leave, you lose all of that work. So for me, no matter what, am going to keep my own website, regardless of what brokerage I'm with, regardless of what tools they give me. This is mine. I'm going to blog, which means I'm going to be investing time. I'm going to be investing money. I'm not willing to give up my my asset, where I'm going to be blogging. You can also blog on external sites such as Active Rain, medium.com, there's another one, realtytimes.com. So you can blog on other places too to generate interest in your brand. But having your own asset is really important. So this is my Ballen Vegas website, and it's all about Las Vegas. So it's real estate and it's hyperlocal. Things to do in Vegas, things to do at Christmas, things to do for Valentine's Day, best parks, best dog parks. Because for me, I believe a real estate agent should be a local specialist. So it makes sense to have that all rolled in together, in my opinion. Okay. Now over here, I've started a niche site. So this one, you'll see it pop up here in a second. This one is called GoSummerlin.com. GoSummerlin.com if you want to check it out. These websites are also built by Jeff and Paul. They're just a different theme. So it's just a different design. I love this design. It's so clean, and all of their designs are fantastic. But this one I just put together for Summerlin, and all of the websites that Jeff and Paul built are built on what I do and on my layouts and things that I love as a real estate agent, which is so cool. So as you can see here, I've got several blog posts on this screen that you can see real life examples of how I'm blogging. So this one here is all about the Summerlin parks. This one here is all about the Summerlin zip codes. And guess what? The #1 traffic earning page on my new Go Summerlin website, which I just started this year, is that blog post all about Summerlin zip codes. And if you guys have followed me for a while, you've heard me talk about the power of zip codes. I mean, oh my gosh. I would tell real estate agents everywhere on the planet to get your blog done about zip codes. You can hire Jeff and Paul too. They do content to create your zip code pages. But if you have more than one zip code, you want to get in here and create blog posts about zip codes. In addition to zip codes are general areas. So in Vegas, we have Southwest, Northwest, East, West, Henderson, Vegas, Mesquite. We have all these little areas. Green Valley, we have all these master plan communities, Summerlin, Green Valley, Mountain's Edge. And people start looking up homes, and let's just say they're moving here from California or somewhere else. As soon as they start Googling things, they start to figure out that we have all these neighborhoods. Well, I want to make sure they're finding me when they're typing in best places to live in Summerlin, that kind of thing. So zip codes are absolutely huge. All right, so downtown Summerlin restaurants, Red Rock Casino, I've got a blog about. The best sushi in Summerlin, I've got a blog about. So if you can't see the screen, and because you're watching this on Facebook, go to gosummerlin.com and scroll down to the blogs, and you'll be able to see all of those incredible blogs, okay, that we're talking about. And links again, after this video, I will attach all the links to all the stuff, okay? I see Evelyn's asking about the links now too. I'll get them all for you after the video, because I just bought it all, so had to put it all together. Okay, thank you. Screen is still on the blog post. Yes, that's what I wanted. All right, perfect. Jeff says we can see the screen. Awesome. Okay. All right. So blog posts can be hyperlocal, right? So you kind of got the idea there about hyperlocal. Okay. Now, if we go over to I've got a couple analytical tools that I love to use. Both of them are paid tools, but you can also use Google Analytics, and Google Analytics is free. So it's really kind of geeky. So following that along for me is more difficult than my other tools are. Not that they're not also geeky. But what we can see here is if I go over to Clicky, Clicky is an analytics tool, and Jeff and Paul build in Clicky with their websites when they put them in. So if you're already a Brew client, you already have a website with Ballen Brands, you probably have this tool as well, and you can contact them and ask them. We've got videos on how to use it. But what I really like about this is I can navigate to any of my websites. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 websites in my portfolio that I'm building and managing. And then I can go, let's just say we want to look at the last 60 days, the last 14 days, whatever that might be. I can see who's visiting the website, what pages are popular, where they're coming from, some of the keywords they're using to find my site. And Google locks up much of that keyword data, so we have to see what we can see. And what you'll see here is that you can see things like, so somebody went to Google and typed in the phrase Summerlin Toll Brothers, and they found my website because I blogged about the new Toll Brothers community in Summerlin, and I'm now ranking for it. And so that's how they found that page. The next one is Affinity Townhomes. That's another builder. It's another neighborhood that I blogged about. So these could be web pages, they could be blog posts, whatever you have is fine. So, sometimes we call them blogs. They could just be web pages. There's another one, Jade Ridge Summerlin. There's Summerlin Library. So I was just telling you I blogged about Summerlin Library, and here you can see the evidence. It's bringing in traffic, right? Here's the zip code one, Summerlin zip codes. Here's another one, homes for sale in 89144 in Summerlin. Here, somebody typed in Summerlin happy hours. So this is just a great example of what's working, okay? And if I click on content, I can actually see all of the pages on my website and which ones get the most traffic in order. So first one, zip codes. Second one, best happy hours. So if you're listening for blog ideas. Third one, downtown Summerlin. That's a mall. We have a mall called downtown Summerlin, and I rank really well for it. It brings in a bunch of traffic. The next one, single story new homes. So I have a page on my website all about new homes in Summerlin that are single story, because those are things people like to search by. Here's one, Summerlin Parks. There's a neighborhood one. There's another neighborhood. There's another neighborhood. Okay. So you kind of get the idea here. Now, let's look at the Vegas website, which is also a real estate website. And we're going to look at, this one's been around for a while, so it gets quite a lot more traffic. But let's take a look at the content that one's getting a lot of. So the first one is an actual MLS listing that we're ranking very high for. The second one is tiny house living in Las Vegas. That's a blog post. Now, let me tell you what's really cool. I make about $500 a month on ads that appear throughout those blogs. Now, that's a really small amount of money considering what's possible with Google Ads, but it's really cool because I've found a way now to make money in multiple locations, whether or not those people are interested in real estate or they want to look at hyperlocal information. Are they clicking through and looking at IDX? Are they looking at the best happy hours? Any way they go, I can now make money on it. And that's a really cool thing. I absolutely love that. And many people end up retiring living off of their website ad spend. And once your AdSense and once your traffic gets up to a certain amount, then you can go to the more premium advertisers. And there's premium advertisers you can make way more than with Google AdSense. And I've got videos on how to do that as well. But I just love that. I think it's such a cool thing that if that person might already be working with a realtor, but they happen to be on my website, I'm still going to make money if they're viewing multiple pages and looking at ads, or, so that's just a little side note there that I absolutely love, 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 love. All right. Okay. So then we have, so the tiny house living. So if you have tiny homes in your town, write about your tiny home villages or your tiny home parks. Where can people put tiny homes? And oh my gosh, right now with everything that's going on this year, people are exploring either one, moving out of their town completely and going to the suburbs. We're seeing a lot of that happening, right? Two, people are moving up because they decided they need more space. If they're going to be on lockdown with their family, they need more places to go be alone, right? We're seeing some of that. Definitely something I'm doing right now because I was like, oh my gosh, after 6 months of being in the house and not leaving anywhere, I really want more space. And then other people are completely downsizing so that they've got more control. They're buying RVs, they're turning their vans into van life living, and they're buying tiny homes. So if you're in real estate, that's a great blog to write. And these also all make great videos too, if you're a vlogger as well. Okay. So then here's one, how to keep bugs off your window screen. That person's probably not looking to buy a house. They're looking to keep bugs off their window screen. But if they visit my website, Google stores a memory that person was on my website, regardless of what they were looking at. Oh, keep hitting that microphone. So with that memory stored with Google, the next time that same person Googles something, my pages are likely to be pushed up on the rankings for that person because Google says there's already a relationship between that visitor and the website. So if they're Googling anything to do with Las Vegas, allergies or Easter egg hunts or holiday lights or real estate or home values or market data, we're going to show them Lori's site. We're going to show them ballenvegas.com because obviously they think that website is valuable because they've been there before and they clicked through to 2 or 3 pages. They stayed on a little while. Those are some of the reasons too why blogging can have such a multiple layer effect besides just boom, getting a lead, right? Okay. Now I'm going to show you where to get ideas for blogs in so many places you will never, ever, ever have to question what to write about again. Because a lot of people say to me, well, how did you know to write about all this stuff? I have tools. One, I listen to my buyers and sellers or whoever my clients are. What are their questions? If they're asking a question, I better have a blog about it. I better have a video about it, right? That's just a no-brainer. What's earnest money? How much down payment do I have to put down? What happens during an inspection? What happens if the buyer doesn't close on time? What happens if the seller doesn't leave on time? Who pays for the inspection? Who pays for the appraisal? What do I get with the house? What if I find mold? What if this? I have blogs on all of that stuff. And I will tell you, my number one blog post for real estate that has generated the most seller listings over the years is what are closing costs when selling a house? That's been number one. My home buyer guide does very well. That has all the process listed out and closing costs when buying a house. They want to know the same thing. But for sellers, the 2 top ones for me have been closing costs when selling a house and my real estate market report. So if somebody Googles Las Vegas real estate market and they find my real estate report, and then I offer a home valuation widget in there, get your instant home valuation. Then they fill out the home value request. Now all of a sudden I can text them with my systems, and I have automated text and all that that'll text them and say, hey, when are you looking to sell? That kind of thing. Another place you can go is actually to Google. So I'm going to type in, we're just going to go straight up here to Google, or you can just type in that search bar. Let's see if it'll go to the home screen. Okay, there we go. We'll go to the home screen here. Okay, and then we can type in to Google something like, let's do an asterisk as a placeholder, sell a house. Let's do how to, okay. So what you're going to notice here is as I start typing in, and this is just in Google, how to sell a house, these suggestions start popping up around that term. And these suggestions are based on what people are actually searching. How to sell a house by owner, how to sell a house without a realtor, how to sell a house by owner paperwork, how to sell a house to a friend, how to sell a house with a mortgage. Okay. And then you could put a space bar, and then you could put in any letter of the alphabet like A, and now it'll change the suggestions. How to sell a house as is. That's a good one. How to sell a house and buy a new one at the same time. How to sell a house and buy a house. That's what I just said. How to sell a house as a real estate agent. How to sell a house by owner. How to sell a house as a realtor. How to sell a house for cash. So how to sell a house after someone dies. How to sell a house after a year. These are all blog posts. And this is never ending. I mean, you just can get on here and play all day long. You want to work with investors, you could type something like invest in real estate. Okay. How to invest in real estate with little money. Investing in real estate app, investing in real estate stocks, invest in real estate without being a landlord. You can just play all kinds of around with that. And then you can also do your city. So if I were to just start typing in Las Vegas, I could go Las Vegas and then put a space, Las Vegas News, Las Vegas Craigslist, Las Vegas Review Journal, Las Vegas Raiders, Las Vegas DMV, Las Vegas Water District, Las Vegas Airport. So if I'm creating a website all about Las Vegas, wouldn't I want to include those types of things on my website? Because what you're doing then is you're telling Google, I am an authority on real estate and I'm an authority on Vegas. Put the two together, when somebody Googles things to do with Las Vegas real estate, there's a good chance those types of blogs are going to appear. Okay? This is the only way we can compete with Zillow and all of those big guys, is by ranking for these long tail terms, we call them, that are super laser targeted. And if you wanted to look at real estate, you could type something in like Las Vegas real estate. Okay, Las Vegas real estate market, Las Vegas real estate news. Maybe we type in Las Vegas homes. Okay, there we go. Las Vegas homes for sale, Las Vegas homes for rent, Las Vegas homes for rent by owner, Las Vegas homes for sale with a pool, Las Vegas homeschool. That was not there last year. We know why we're seeing that, right? That's trending because of what's happening this year. Las Vegas homes for sale with detached guest houses. Now, those would not be blog posts. They would be pages on your website with a grid of homes that show real estate listings, like what I was showing you that Jeff and Paul build. That's called IDX. That IDX feed puts all the listings on your page, and you can actually build those pages with a simple little piece of code that you build with your IDX software. So I can go log into my IDX and I can fill in the little fields, show me all 3 bedrooms with a pool and a dog run. And then it gives me a little piece of code. I go to my website to put that piece of code on the website, and then I can see all homes that are 3 bedrooms with a pool and a dog run. And those are the types of things that we end up ranking really well for, is those mother-in-law quarters is a big one of mine. A lot of people type in Las Vegas homes for sale with the mother-in-law quarters and they'll find my website. Okay, so these are Las Vegas homes with a casita. Those go on and on. And then same with your neighborhoods. I could type in Las Vegas neighborhoods and Las Vegas neighborhoods by zip code, Las Vegas neighborhoods for young professionals. That's one I haven't done yet. I need to make a note. Note to self, blog about that. Las Vegas neighborhoods with Christmas lights. I've talked about that blog every year, you know, making a list of all the best houses and neighborhoods to go see holiday lights. That one does really, really well every year. Okay, so you can play around with that. And if you were to type in best places to, look at this, best places to eat in Vegas, best places to live in Vegas, best places to, I'm going to put a little asterisk in Vegas, best places to stay in Vegas, best places to gamble in Vegas, best places to shop in Vegas, best places to eat in Vegas on a budget. Those are all blog posts. I mean, the ideas are endless, endless, endless. It's just absolutely incredible. Now, one more advanced strategy I'll give you today is for those of you that use SEMrush. Okay, I'll put a link because I do have an affiliate relationship with SEMrush too. I'll put a link afterwards in the video. But if you go to loristools.com, L-O-R-I, loristools.com, you can see all the tools that I use on there. SEMrush is one of them. So what happens with SEMrush is, I'll pull up Vegas, for example. It tracks all of your keywords that you rank for on Google. So currently I have 26,000, just under 26,000 keywords that rank in the top 10 pages of Google. So it's the top 100 spots. There's almost 26,000 keywords that I rank for. But I will tell you, the 80-20 rule still applies here. 20% of your keywords generate 80% of your business. Did I say that right? I think I said that right. So it's hit and miss. You know, sometimes you'll think you're going to nail it and you wrote this great blog and it doesn't go anywhere. And other times you do a blog and you're like, okay, I'm done with that. And you move on. You don't even look at it again. All of a sudden you're getting all this traffic from that blog. That just is kind of a natural process with blogging that happens. Okay. Let me see if that answer the public popped up really quick while that's loading. Nope, never did. I don't know, probably because I'm streaming in 4K and it may not be able to do all that tab hopping. quite as much. Okay, so what'll happen is it tracks your own website. I'm going to click on view details so you can see what I'm talking about with these 26,000, just under 26,000 keywords. This tool is amazing for tracking how well you're doing with search engines. But there's a magic thing I'm going to show you in a second where you can look up all your competitors and what they're doing, and that will give you ideas on what else to create on your blog if you run out of ideas on those other pages for whatever reason. I can't imagine ever running out of ideas. I don't think I ever will. There's just so much. Almost. What you're going to see is a lot of my keywords, like I said, are hyperlocal. But I mean, in the last 24 hours, we've probably gotten a dozen leads. And regardless of whether or not they came from your Christmas lights blog or they happened upon an IDX listing or they came from your Pinterest or your whatever, it all complements each other. It all works so well together. Okay, these are probably just going to take too long. Oh, there we go. It just popped up right when I said it. So give it a second. You have a delay. So sorted by highest to lowest based on the amount of traffic I get from that keyword ranking. I'm going to read off a few of these for those of you that don't see the screen. What time is it in Las Vegas is my #1 traffic earner from Google rankings specifically. So not including what would come from Pinterest or from YouTube or any of those external sources, but just from Google searches. What time is it in Las Vegas is my #1. There are 60,000 searches every month for the phrase, what time is it in Las Vegas? And I'm in the number 10 position. So I rank on average as number 10. So I'm on page 1 of Google. Generates a lot of traffic. Okay. So second one is gyms in Las Vegas. What are the best gyms in Las Vegas? Third one right now, and this is seasonal, haunted houses in Las Vegas. That's going to be tricky this year in 2020, but we'll have to see how that pans out. Retiring in Las Vegas is #4. That's a great real estate one. Retiring in Las Vegas. So wherever you are, if you have people that like to go there to retire, building a great retirement blog all about why they should retire where you are, what's great about that location for 55 plus. You can talk about everything from golf and leisure and 55 plus communities and you know how close it is to transportation, medical, airport, whatever it is that is important. And then pumpkin patches, best sushi in Las Vegas, how to bury the St. Joseph statue. That one's real estate for sellers. Okay, Las Vegas Arts District. All right, so you kind of get the idea. It's a combination of real estate and hyperlocal. But what's really cool is if I go back, let's see if it'll load. At the bottom of the page, it's actually going to give me a list of who it believes my competitors are based on other websites that rank for similar terms as me. So it's going to scour the web and pull in other websites that also have a lot of keywords ranking on Google. And I usually will start there and go look at their website. And that list I just showed you that has all of the keywords I rank for, you can see the exact same thing for anybody else. Anybody, nationwide, everything. Every keyword they rank for, you can see. Every how much traffic they get from each keyword, you can see. And you don't then go steal their content, but you can definitely take the ideas. If all of a sudden I'm on a competitor's website and I can see that they rank really high for Summerlin pools, or they rank really high for homes for sale in Vegas with a basement, or they rank really high for Mountain's Edge master plan community, and I haven't blogged about it, then I go, oh, let me go over and go look. Okay, so for example, I'm going to take this first one here because they have always been one of my top competitors. And we'll take a look. And then as I start looking at those, I compare with my own website. Have I already written that blog yet? Have I already created content yet? And if not, then I go look at it. So you could do the same thing if you drive by a yard sign, or you see a company all the time. They're on the radio, they're on TV, they're on podcasts, they're on YouTube. You can actually take their URL and put it into this tool, and it'll tell you their paid ads, their organic traffic. It won't tell you what they advertise on radio, but it'll tell you what they pay for on Google or what they earn in on Google. So here you go. So here's her list. So this competitor website has 9,562 keywords ranking in the top 100 of Google. Her first one, Las Vegas zip code map. Second one, Las Vegas zip code. Anthem, Las Vegas. And if I click on view details, then I can see all the rest. And I can sort them however I want. I can export them to a spreadsheet, put them in my Google Sheets and save it. And then whenever I need an idea, I can just go in there and say, okay, what blogs haven't I done yet? And again, this also works for videos. I am going to do an upcoming live stream where we talk only about video, but the same concept works for video. So if you're building a video channel, you could do the same thing. There are certain types of content that do better on video and some that do better on blogs. And you start to kind of find out which one of those, which are. But it's a good idea if you're building both of those channels to create some of both of those.